I want to talk to you guys. Hi guys, Alecia so awesome. I want to talk to you guys about bullying. Nurse bullying specifically, because we are nurses, or soon to be nurses, or soon to be nurse practitioners. I think I was a little naive. I can remember being taught about this when I was in undergrad at Clayton State. I can remember us having a whole section of being taught about nurse bullying and how to handle it, and I think I was just a little naive about it. I didn't take it serious, and recently I've just experienced a lot, and I want to tell you guys that it's serious and that it does happen, and I want to tell you how to handle it. So if you're not familiar, nurse bullying is like, I give you an example. For instance, all the nurses don't speak to you, right? They chat amongst themselves, but they don't speak to you. That's a form of nurse bullying. Or when they do say stuff to you, they are mean and derogatory or just nasty. That is nurse bullying. And I want you guys to be very much aware of how important it is for you guys to always involve your management when stuff like this is going on, right? First, I want to say I went to nursing school with a plethora of people. Some assertive and strong out the mouth like me. When I say strong out the mouth, I mean that I have no problem voicing how I feel to anybody, right? So some were like me. Some were kind of like more like quiet and had their own opinions and thought about things, but are not that verbal, right? Didn't really say too much. I'm very smart, but just not as verbal as somebody like me, right? Or I had some that were kind of like in between, that would speak up on some stuff and not about other things. And when you go to clinicals with your classmates is when you really learn a lot about them. But you will begin to form your own friends and your own circle of people that you feel comfortable with. I'm kind of like weird and strange. Like, I be feeling comfortable with all people because I have times of feeling quiet, like I don't want to talk, and I have times of feeling like I have a lot to say, and I have times of feeling like I'll say some things, some things I won't say. So I'm kind of like a chameleon. Like, I can kind of work and communicate with all people, right? So, but on the everyday, on like 90% of the time, you're going to meet me like I am now. Very open, very honest, and if it comes to me or my patient, very verbal, okay? And I realized that when you advocate for your patients and when you tend to move in a light that is right, when you're doing what's right, everybody is not always comfortable with the fact that you don't mind speaking up and having things to say. And I want you to continue to be comfortable if that's how you move. And I want you to continue to speak up. If you are like me, assertive and very and have a lot of things to say, or if you're somebody that's quiet, or if you're somebody that's half and half in between and you experience nurse bullying, it is very important that you involve your nurse manager. And I want to start you guys early. Just recently, this year, when I picked up my nurse educator job, did my DON, my Dean of Nursing, for my specific school, used to always get on me about, I'd have a lot of conversations and stuff with students. And then, one person thinks it came across this way, I think it came across another way, whatever the case may be. She used to always tell me the way to get around that and to make sure everybody's on the first page is just send a follow-up email to like recap. And I want to get you guys on emailing early, right? When you have an issue or a situation, right, at your job, at your workplace, you email your management. You include your management in your email. Then that way you are in the loop you have everybody in the loop with what's going on, right? That's extremely important for you to make sure that, like, if you have an issue with Samantha, right, and it is something that we want to make sure that our work environments are comfortable. If you have an issue with Samantha, then I want to make sure that if you guys that you're communicating and including everybody in the email. So I would put Samantha in the email. Hey, Miss Pat is a manager. Me and Samantha had a disagreement today at the Pyxis, and this is what happened. I want to make sure that I keep my work environment safe and happy and continue to learn. And I just want to keep you in the loop what's going on. Period. And let me tell you the purpose of putting everybody in the email. For one, you're including Samantha because that is who you had the situation with, right? You want her to know that you have escalated the situation, you've escalated it to the proper person, and that her lines of communication are open as well to communicate whatever she felt like she wanted to communicate from the situation. And moving forward, that's how I want you guys to communicate. Always communicate issues with nurse bullying or any issues with your job through email. Phone calls are nice. If you get a phone call, or if you do have a phone call, follow up with a recap email. So if you have a phone call with somebody, your manager at your job or a nurse at your job, you want to make sure that you send a recap email. So let's just say that you and your manager spoke about a shift change, right? You send an email. You say, Miss Pat, just to recap our conversation, I will be swapping out November 13th for the 15th, and I'll see you guys promptly at 7 a.m. Bam. That is going to make sure that there is no miscommunication. And I think that that's half the problem with nursing a lot when it comes to just problems and inconsistencies, is that there's a loss of communication when you put an email together with the concerning party, you and the manager, director, your nurse leaders. Then that way everybody's on the same page and everybody knows what's happening. And everything I share with you guys on this page, I've learned through experience. And I'm still learning. I'm 41. I've been a nurse since 2014. And just recently, I just started teaching at the beginning of, 2021, right? And just recently, I had a conversation with a student that I had taught for gerontology, and I felt like our communication was great. I have been communicating with her the whole term via text message, just to make sure she was getting assignments and stuff like that turned in. When the session came to an end and she did not do well, there was a big misconstrue of what I said and how she took it. And I had to have a conversation with my nurse manager, with my dean of nursing, and she told me that, you're 100% right, and I understand where you're coming from. Your fault in this matter is that you did not send a follow-up email to make sure that you and her had understood the conversation the same, and that she understood where you were coming from, because text messages and phone calls and stuff like that, things can get misconstrued. But when you put it in an email verbatim and you type it up so she can understand what you're saying, then you leave less room for error. So that is how you handle nurse bullying. Nurse bullying, if that's something that you are experiencing, you make sure that you and the party that you are having issues with, or any type of miscommunication problems with, or even with your manager, you make sure that you put the issues in the email, that you address it appropriately, and you include all appropriate parties who can help you with the matter in the email. This is hes𝘂𝗿𝗀𝗏. It's good to see you guys. I have been just spending a lot of time figuring out how I can be a better Alicia, a better nurse practitioner, a better person ultimately, because when I'm centered and everything is right, it's going to be right. I just have to make sure that I take the time to myself and spend time with me and stay on top of things. And I realize that I want to be the best nurse practitioner alive. When somebody says it, I want them to say my name, and I have to continue to stay on top of things. So as I learn and grow, you guys will too. And I'll see you guys soon.